adapt to what's going on in your life, what happens? We're able to overcome challenges, we're able to overcome whatever's going on externally, internally, and if we overcome, I think that's where the expression actually came from. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's only true if you're adapting to it.
Thank you.
Because if you're able to adapt to it, then that means that your body's making changes either physically or mentally so that you can overcome the challenge. Or you're stressed, which means you're not adapting to it. And that's why stress leads to all the different things that we were talking about. You had a lot of different ideas that came up. Everyone is right, because stress will make the difference. If you're able to adapt to and handle your stresses, that'll make the difference between if you're moving towards your goals in your life, or if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stifled, if you're moving towards the things that you don't want in your life. And that's why this workshop right here is really one of the most important workshops of the year. It's the one that I do every month. New patients come in, everyone does one of these workshops, because people are coming in. My goal, I've spent a lot of time working with people for years. I've been helping people achieve better health through removing interference from their nerves and allowing the body's wisdom to express itself so it can do more, so it can adapt better, and working through the physical, chemical, the emotional, the mental side of this stress triangle, really just allowing the body to work better. And all the while, I've always been looking for, how can I help people more? How can I achieve better results? And one of the biggest things I noticed is that if each person here today, takes in your own hands, takes it into your own responsibility to train yourself just a tiny little bit, just the tiniest little seed can turn into the biggest tree. It can make a huge change in the way you see yourself, the way you see life, and also the results and the outcomes that you're achieving in your life. So I would always continue going to seminars and learning different things. I know, has anyone ever here heard of Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins? Right? He was giving a seminar on emotions and how he was actually working with people and working with their emotions, and they were achieving better health. So I said, there's a group of us that are doing these types of things. My friend Dr. Roger Sawyer, if you know anyone, Paramus, and in the New Jersey area, you want to help them start moving towards better health, better quality of life. We have someone there. We also have someone in Garden City, Long Island. And then we're opening up, this is the newest one technically. It's in White Plains. Our goal is really the same. We just want to start helping people improve the quality of their lives. We want everyone to start being happier. We want you to start moving towards your goals and not feel like, what was it that said you feel like you're moving away from them? Is that you? When you're stressed? Yes. Someone said that. So the point is that when you're feeling stressed, it really makes a big difference. I started to look for more things. And then when I went to that seminar, or not, actually my friend Ray went to that seminar, and we separated, we were working together at the time. I said, hey, I'll be in the office, I want you to take good notes, bring me back to work, and we studied it together afterwards, went over everything. And what we were looking for, you know what we were looking for? What I can do for my patients. What else can I share with my patients? What else can I share with you and you and you, so that your life can get better? And it worked, and a lot of people, it helped a lot of people. But what really made the difference is a couple years later, when I started applying it to myself. See, I didn't need it. I said, no, I don't need that. Oh, emotions, I'm fine, right? Anyone here, that doesn't affect me. I don't need. That's how I was. I said, this is for my patient. That's not for me. It's for my patients. And then when I started to really apply these things, these principles to myself, that's when all of a sudden all these doors started opening up for me. Because the blocks, mentally I knew, emotions play a huge role, that it makes a lot of blocks, so I need to start working with my patients more with emotions, right? I didn't do it to myself, I was blocked and seeing how much it was really affecting me, and also limiting my ability to help my patients even more. Because when it comes to the ultimate test is, it's not anyone else's responsibility for your life but your own. And when I started doing that, I was able to see that can help you even more by doing a workshop like this. By getting people to just take 1 or 2 tiny steps today, and it's going to make a world of difference. Because the truth of it, one of the really important points that I want you to get, I want you to if you don't have if you have a pen, write it down. I think it might be on one of the main points on your pamphlets that you have. But the point is that the quality of your life is directly proportionate to the quality of how well you're handling stress. Okay? The quality of your life is directly proportionate to the quality of how well you're handling stress. And let me tell you how it works. See, if I was feeling angry, if I was feeling pressured, if I was feeling whatever feelings I'm feeling, there's a pattern of nerves that are firing in my brain. There's specific nerve pathways firing. Do you think that the pattern of nerves that I'm firing, when I'm feeling happy, are the same nerves that I'm firing when I'm feeling sad?
No.
No. So in life, whatever we do more of, we start to get more familiarity with it. We start to feel more comfortable with it, whether it helps us or hurts us. We actually reinforce that pattern. There's actually a term in neurology. It's actually called plasticity. It becomes more plastic. It just means that that nerve pathway is becoming reinforced. So if I'm feeling angry all day long, angry, 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 or if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling sorry for myself all day long, down on myself, right? Then at the end of the day, is it going to be easier for me, or is it going to be harder for me to feel happy? I didn't hear that. Can I hear that again?
Harder.
Okay. It's going to be harder. And what if I've been reinforcing that pattern for the last 10 years of my life? I see the expression that means, let me just translate that into words. It means really hard, right? Now, what is it that everyone's trying to accomplish? Is everyone here trying to get happy? And to find some way to make sure things in your life work out? Why? So you can be happy?
Yes.
Okay? So we're always looking outside in, outside in, outside in, right? Saying, oh, well, what about when I'm looking for, let's say, oh, when I accomplish this goal, then I'll be happy. Or once I get this done, then I'll be happy. Or if this happens, okay, fine, then I'll be happy, right? Let me wait till my little children grow up a little bit more. It's not constant attention anymore. That's what I tell them. And then I say, okay, then I'll be relaxed. Then I'll get my work done. And even if that was the case when that happens, I've reinforced a pattern so long of not being the way I want to be now and always thinking that's going to happen some other time, that by the time that happens, even if I get a slight gratification, it's usually temporary, right? Let me buy that dress in the window. Once I get that, I'll be happy. Once I get that new car, oh, that's what's going to make me so happy. Finally, I get that new car, and after a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, then it's like every other car. You get the idea? And because what was reinforced? So my question to you is, if we're going to start applying a new principle today, no matter how easy or simple it may be, and we're going to give some really simple ones that make such a profound impact on your life. If we're going to apply some of these principles, and you were reinforcing patterns that allowed you to feel really overworked and stressed, things that allowed you to get overwhelmed, things that made it more difficult to be successful in your life, then are you going to have to put more time into it in the beginning or less time? That's the question.
In the beginning, more.
In the beginning, more. Are you going to need to put a little bit more energy into it in the beginning?
Yeah.
Guess what? Is it worth it? When you put more energy into it in the beginning, are you starting to reinforce a new pattern?
Yep.
Well, if it's getting reinforced, is it getting easier?
Yes.
So it's just in the beginning. And eventually it becomes very good. Eventually, it just becomes a part of who you are, and everything's. That's when you get to the point where you're like, wow, everything just seems to work out for me. Isn't that what we all want to be? We're laughing because we know that sounds great, and that means if you're anyone who laughed right now, I want you to recognize that that's one of the stress reduction techniques. You have to laugh more. That's wonderful. What you just started doing was breaking down some of the patterns, the old patterns that were reinforced. Because your mind, what came up is in your mind something was reinforced that said, that's not possible for me. And then, when we start to see it from another perspective that says, really? Maybe? The idea that came up, like, that would be nice. Like we just start to really laugh about it. But we're starting to break down those patterns, and what you're really hoping for in your life actually can start to become a reality. Because you got to ask yourself this question. When are you more likely to get over, everybody, we're Americans, we like everything faster, bigger, right? Faster. Are you going to get over a challenge faster when you're feeling down, stressed, depressed, or when you're feeling excited, when you're feeling joyful, when you're feeling happy, when you're enthused or inspired about whatever it is? What's going to make you, when are you going to get over a challenge faster? In which way?
Feeling excited, happy, and uplifted.
That's right. So if you're, and let's take it a step further. If you can get yourself to feel excited, if you're going to be more productive that way, you're going to accomplish, overcome your challenges more, then everything that you're doing really, if you think about it, it's affected by how you're feeling at that moment. Right? And one thing I'd like to urge you all to do is if you ever have to make a decision in your life that's a big decision, don't just make it quickly in the spur of the moment. If you're feeling pressured or you have any negative emotions, take the time to either, if you pray on it, or meditate for a little bit, or just take some quiet time to contemplate the pros and the cons. Be clear about what it is you're really looking for your life. And then, that's called preparation. We can talk about preparing, right? And then, if you still feel the same way about it, then go ahead. Or else I'll be going through Dick's Sporting Goods, and I see this, out of nowhere, I see this awesome tent, and I get this whole idea of I want to go camping, and I'm going to take the kids, and I just go ahead and I just spend $100 just doing whatever it is, and I come home, and I just acted so quickly. I didn't even think maybe my wife was thinking something else, or I find out then my kids they don't like camping, or whatever it is. And did I take the time, especially if it's the bigger the decision? Don't you want to be more prepared for it? You got it? So you really want to make sure that you recognize that the level of success you can achieve in your life is really basically in direct proportionate to your ability to make yourself feel better feelings more often. That's another thing I want you to really let that sink in.
Can you repeat that, please?
Your ability to be successful in your life is going to be in direct proportion to the ability to make yourself feel better feelings more often. So I drew this little chart here because this right here, you have to know what goes into what you're feeling. And then it gets simple. It gets so simple. Your feelings, what goes into what you're feeling is always going to be a combination of these three things. Okay? Number one is focus. And here's where we're going to get into what you mentioned before about how it keeps getting reinforced. So here's another real big principle that I want you to get. If it's not listed on your chart in the front, then I want you to take a moment to really think about this statement. And the statement is, you feel what you focus on. You feel what you focus on. So if you're focusing on something happens in your life, right? And you've trained your unconscious mind is already trained to always be focusing on what's wrong, why I can't have this, why, right? Then are you going to feel happy or sad? Sad. If you trained your mind, your unconscious mind, and we're going to show you how to do that, to focus on, well, what's good, what can I gain from this? What's here? What's the hidden meaning in this, the more empowering meaning in this? So you're allowing personal growth as well. It starts to, if you're training yourself to focus on the things that really make you happy, then you're going to be feeling happy. And if you're focusing on things that make you feel sad, then how are you going to be feeling? Sad. Okay? So do you think that what you focus on has a big difference in your feeling? Does it become obvious?
Yes.
All right? So if I go to sleep at night only focusing on what's going on with the missile Iran or what's going on with there's so much murder and so much death in the world, and that's the only thing I'm tuning my brain into, then I'm going to go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm still, the very first day I'm training my mind. My mind is actually starting to be programmed with these thoughts, these feelings. But there's actually a part in your brain called your reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system is a part of your brain that's specifically designed. One of its primary jobs is to tune into what you're focusing on. just to help you see how important this is and how much it plays a role in your life. Anyone here ever go ahead and decide to buy a new car, and you buy that car, and you're driving a new car, and then you start to see that car everywhere?
Yes.
Right? And like, what happened? I thought I was the only, I was the only one there. But as soon as you got your mind to be tuned into that frequency, you start to notice that everywhere. Well, think about an area of your life where you're stressed, you're looking to accomplish your goal, get over a challenge right now. And what if and you're going to learn this technique very soon, what if we trained you how to tune your brain into that frequency of all of possibilities and what I can do to overcome this? What am I going to see today that can help me overcome this challenge? What am I going to hear? What am I going to experience in my life today that is, giving me more opportunities to make my life better and better and better, to actually overcome these challenges? If you start to bring up the feelings associated, that same feel-good feeling that you got when you thought about getting that new car, then what happens is you're going to be activating that part of your brain. You're going to feel. Anyone here, if we've had adjustments with me, you ever, I don't know if we did it, anyone here had an adjustment where we started to tap in certain things, ask certain questions, repeat certain things, and stimulate emotional centers in our brain, release some pressure, and you start to feel that shift in your mind where you start to become more, you felt that? See, what happens is when you tune into those things, then you start noticing more things in your life. Now, those cars, they were always there already, but we couldn't see them. And that's what it's like going through your challenges. One of the things that I program myself, my mind to experience, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling, I see it. It reveals itself to be true as soon as I acted on faith with it. Is that there's a divine ordinance in all things. And I started training myself. How can I see the divine ordinance in myself? How can I see the divine ordinance of what's going on around me? How can I see the divine ordinance? And I started to see it. I realized at this point now, from working with so many people, I realized that the answers to all the problems you're looking for, there's always a solution. And if you can start training yourself to feel better feelings more often, then guess what? You're going to find that solution slower or faster?
Faster.
Faster. You're going to start accessing those creative centers in your brain. Right? Some people, maybe some people here, some people in life generally, definitely, have been, in childhood we laughed a lot more. We laughed. This is one of the tools for handling stress. We definitely had a lot more laughter as a child. We were able to get into that state easily. Okay? And some people, sometimes I'll talk to my wife, and here I am, I'm a doctor, and I work with a lot of patients, and sometimes I'm a leader. As far as when it comes to healthcare, we're at the cutting edge here of teaching people how to bring transformation to your life, how to overcome these challenges where a lot of times people are coming to me and their mindset was already tuned into our frequency. Oh, nothing can help me. Oh, I'm hopeless. People are coming in with feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, and they're not sure exactly that they can even overcome it, and they come in and they're just like, I'll try anything. As a matter of fact, there was a guy named Dan who came to my office once, and his wife was one of those people who she is the very, very best at taking care of everyone else, making sure every person's taken care of, but she would let the stress affect herself because she took on everything, and she thought of herself last. And I know a lot of people who are with really good hearts are doing that. Anyway, her husband was having serious life. She took him to every doctor you can think of, everything you can do medically, holistically, psychologically. She went to so many different doctors, homeopathics. She tried everything, and it's been over 10 years, and nothing was able to help him with it. He was having really severe digestive issues. And she came to my office, and he said, well, let me try this. And I appreciate it. See, because I'm always tuned into what can I be thankful for? What do I appreciate about this person? What do I say? And I said, you know what? One thing that is going to help you be successful is the fact that you never give up. You're committed to getting better, and that's what's going to help you. I said, that's what's going to get you through what you need to do to get healthy, which I'm going to put you through here. And because he said, okay, well, I'm ready to try the next thing. Well, he went like this. Okay, well, I'll try this now. Is that the right attitude, the right feeling that's going to... See, when you have that lower energy field, you're not able to access the resources that you need to overcome that challenge. That's what's going on. You have the greatest resources within you, and one of the most powerful things is your mind. And yet, when you're feeling lower energies, even when you go ahead and you're forcing yourself, that's what it felt like. It felt like he's forcing himself to continue trying more things. So I said, no. I said, I refuse to let this be one more thing that you just try. And then experience the same, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again expecting different results, Has anyone ever heard that's the definition of
Insanity.
insanity? Right? So I said, you're not gonna, I said, even though on the outside, this is something different, oh, let me try something different. On the inside, it was the same thing. Remember, healing is not an outside-in job, it's an inside-out job. And on the inside, he had the same attitude, the same resources going into it. Okay? And so what happened was, I actually worked with him on his feelings, his attitude towards it, and we started to embrace. I said, we started to train him how to focus on what we wanted to focus on, and we trained him. How can I do this? Well, by the things you tell yourself all day long, because this is what Gloria was talking about before. She said it gets reinforced, because what you focus on determines your feeling. If I'm focusing on things that make me happy, I'm going to feel happy. But what happens is the other way around. Is that true too? If I'm feeling really, really happy, and someone's coming around and trying to tell me this really negative story, do I feel like listening to it?
No.
No. And vice versa. If I'm feeling really, really down, unless I finally hit rock bottom with it and I'm ready to be cheered up, someone's trying to cheer me up, I'm just like, let's leave me alone. Right? Have you ever felt that way? Yeah. Okay. So what you're feeling actually links you back to what you're focusing on. So you get yourself into a feeling before you go to bed, and then you go to bed, you're feeling those negative feelings, and then your mind is tuned into those frequencies. You wake up, you start off the next day, here we go again. Is that the attitude you want to start off the day with? Because think about an athlete. Think about the best person in any type of profession. Whatever your favorite profession is, or that person. Even me personally, I played. Now, not that I'm the best in like a football player, but I did play high school football. All right, and you know we trained all week for each game. Actually, we trained all summer, and then for each game in particular, and we got ahead and we watched videos on the other team to see, you know, where their strengths and weaknesses were, and whether that team was considered a stronger team than us or not was irrelevant. Because our coach, if you have a good coach, he's going to let you know that you have what it takes to succeed inside you. If you're going to see what their strengths, their weaknesses are, and you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you say, well, let's dig deeper. How are we going to overcome this challenge here? How are we going to overcome this challenge here? And you start to plan. You prepare. You prepare. And by the time that game came in, no matter who we were playing, we felt ready. We had the wide eyes, you know, ready to go in. Football players, we call it, we got psyched, right? Eye of the tiger, and what is that? Boxing. Anyway, the point is that we were ready. We were ready. If you're the best in a profession, like a football player going into Super Bowl Sunday, right? Or what's one of the top tennis players? Annie Roddick going into, you know, to the U.S. Open or Wimbledon or something. What's going to happen if you didn't prepare? You're going to get your butt kicked? Get tossed around a little bit? Right? If that football player in the Super Bowl, if he didn't prepare. Now, and how long do these people take to prepare for that one moment in their life?
Practice all the time.
A very long time? I'd say their whole life. You know how many kids grow up saying, oh, I'm going to be a football player, and then the ones that make it, then, oh, you know, I'm going to win on the Super Bowl, and the people prepare their whole life for that one moment. And they succeeded. And the best news that I can give you is that you don't have to prepare that hard. You just have to start. Because, like we said, this is another way that I saw grace everywhere. I started asking, how can I see this? And I just see it. That if you just take one tiny step today, and you plant one tiny seed, you just do one small change, it starts to get reinforced automatically. It starts to grow. It starts to grow. And if you just commit to doing the smallest thing, no matter what it is, you're going to start doing more of it. And you're going to start seeing more positive changes in your life, and everything's going to start getting better. So let's get started. How can I change what I'm focusing on? We want to start with your unconscious mind, because your conscious mind is about 2%. Anyone here ever felt like you're banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out how to overcome a challenge? I see some people laughing. All right? So you're using usually just that conscious part of your mind, that 2%, and you're not accessing the other 98%. A lot of the top geniuses, like Einstein. Actually, there's a quote that just popped into my mind, so I feel like sharing it then, because everything happens for a reason. Maybe someone needs to hear it. But Albert Einstein said this quote. He said that either you look at life like everything is a miracle, or you look at it like nothing's a miracle. And what Albert Einstein used to do, and what a lot of these famous, really top scientists, people who were considered geniuses in their profession, what they would do is they would come up with a challenge or something they were focusing on, looking for an answer to, and they would ask that question over and over and over again. And then they would go into like a meditative state, a deeply relaxed state. a relaxed state. And they would let that reticular activating system, that part of your brain we talked about, that tunes in to specific frequencies, that lets you recognize things in your life more, it starts to spit out answers to you. And the best thing about it is you can get that happening for yourself too. We're always relying on that 2%, but if you just trained your unconscious mind, you just started saying, okay, what am I going to see if I woke up in the morning and I said, what am I going to see that's more, how am I going to see more of the beauty around me today in the world? What am I going to hear? How am I going to hear more beautiful sounds in my life today? What am I going to see? And you really start to, the more you do it, the more it starts to become real to you. The more it starts to become, when you're really asking a question, we're going to get a little deeper here for just a second. When you're asking a question that is not to anyone in general, who are you talking to? God. Right? The universe, everyone, everything, all this. You're just putting it out there. You're going outside yourself. Outside of the box, I mean, right? Outside of what you're familiar with. And sometimes it takes us drastic things in our life to finally make us humble enough to go ahead and do that. You ever hear the expression, there's no atheist in the foxhole? Because even if you declare yourself an atheist or something like that, the point is when you're at a point in your life where it's life or death, everything's going crazy all around you, and you reach out for help from somewhere, something. And you say, all right? And the point is that when you start asking for help, when you start tuning into that frequency, is finally it starts to happen. And guess what? Remember about getting reinforced? Do you think it would help if we reinforced that whole thing? Always felt that confidence, that peace of knowing that you're always being supported, that there's always things that help is always around the corner, that you can, yeah. So don't wait till the last minute and then do this. That's why we want to prepare. We want to start now. Because your whole life will change. Your whole quality of life will be better. We talked about this, the quality of life, if you start doing this. So you want to ask questions. So why don't we just think of one or two questions right now. Well, let's say it says, what am I most happy about in my life right now? Imagine if you woke up in the morning and you started off thinking about, what am I most happy about in my life right now? These are just ideas. These are just ideas. We're going to get back in a second, okay? Go ahead. So that's the first half hour, right?